childless woman opened her heart and home to 5 unwanted boys. A single mother, she raised them with blood, sweat, and soul. On her 60th birthday, she stood speechless. Her sons handed her the keys to a brand new house, built in her honor by their love. Life wasn't done writing miracles for her yet. A year after Rosemary's 5 adopted sons got married on the same day, their 5 wives all gave birth in the same year, but in different months. Henry's wife, the eldest son's wife, gave birth to twin girls. Henry named them Rose and Mary to honor Rosemary. Not because they sounded beautiful, but because those 2 names represented one woman. The woman who sacrificed everything so he and his brothers could have a future. Rosemary, now 61, held each grandchild with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes. In 1 year, Rosemary, who was once without children, welcomed 6 adorable grandchildren into her family. 4 girls and 2 boys. The joyful news quickly spread and became the talk of the whole region once again. The entire region talked about her journey again. How she had turned pain into purpose, loneliness into legacy. But fate wasn't done testing her heart. One afternoon, while returning from her last-born divine's house, Rosemary spotted a small crowd gathered near her street. Curious, she told her driver to stop. As she stepped out, her eyes landed on something that would haunt her forever. A 7-year-old boy lying unconscious on the ground, still in his school uniform. His older sister, just 9 years old, stood beside him, tears streaming down her face. "He collapsed," the girl whispered. "He was crying because he was hungry." Rosemary didn't hesitate. She rushed the boy to the hospital herself, but it was too late. Despite every effort, the boy passed away in the hospital. Alone, hungry, and forgotten. Rosemary broke down. She cried as if he were her own grandson, as if she had lost a piece of herself. That night, sleep eluded her. Rosemary couldn't sleep. Her heart and mind were deeply troubled. She cried all through the night because of the little boy's death. At 5 a.m., a thought came to her. A powerful idea to open a free restaurant on her street to feed underprivileged school children from Monday to Friday. She decided to call her sons through a family WhatsApp group. She shared what had happened to the little boy and told them about her plan to open a free restaurant on her street for underprivileged school children. Her sons were deeply moved and overjoyed by her decision. They promised to help financially, logistically, emotionally. After that, they began planning the construction of the restaurant. A few months later, everything was ready, and the restaurant was officially opened. They named it Mummy's King's Free Restaurant. They hired chefs and workers to serve meals to the children. Every day after school, children from the neighborhood rushed there, full of laughter, energy, and for once, full stomachs. As a result, many of the children, especially those who used to skip school because of hunger, began going to school happily and regularly. One day, all the parents and guardians of the school children came together. They bought special gifts to show their gratitude to Rosemary for all she had done for their children. Not long after, the restaurant went viral on social media. People everywhere were deeply moved by Rosemary's kindness. Many began sending support. Some sent money, others donated food items, and some even volunteered to pay the staff salaries. Several food factories also promised to supply the restaurant with food every month. Soon, the storeroom was filled with all kinds of food and cooking supplies. Then came Christmas. Her sons, their wives, and all 6 grandchildren returned home. Together, they decided to give back even more. Food, clothes, gifts, handing them out with joy. As Rosemary served with a smile, her eyes caught something in the crowd that made her freeze. A man struggling to reach the food. She wiped her eyes, blinked hard, and looked again. Time stood still. It was him. Matthew, the man who had left her 27 years ago. The father who walked away when she couldn't give him children. The man she hadn't seen since the day he vanished. Heart pounding, she took a step closer, then another. Finally, she tapped him gently on the shoulder. He turned, and what she saw next made her scream. Rosemary screamed, but not from fear, from shock, from pain, from a wound that had never truly healed. Suddenly reopened. Standing before her was Matthew, the man who once called her wife, who once kissed her on their wedding day and promised to love her for better or worse. But this wasn't the man she remembered. The Matthew she knew was strong, proud, full of life. The one standing before her now was broken, thin, worn, with eyes that carried years of regret and sorrow. His face had aged beyond recognition. His clothes were ragged, His hands trembled. He looked at her, really looked at her, and something in his expression shifted. It was like he saw not just her face, but everything they had lost. "Rosemary," he whispered, voice barely audible over the Christmas crowd. She didn't speak. She couldn't. All those years ago, she had cried herself to sleep, wondering what she had done wrong, wondering if there had been a moment, even just 1 second, when he had looked back and felt remorse. Now here he was, standing in line for food. A man who once walked away from comfort, from love, from home. Without a word, Rosemary turned and walked away. Her sons noticed immediately. Henry caught up first. "Mama, what's wrong?" She shook her head. "Not now." They respected her silence, though concern filled their eyes. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Gifts were given. Laughter filled the air. Children danced. Her grandchildren clung to her legs, unaware of the storm raging inside her heart. That night, alone in her room, she sat by the window again. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to remember. She remembered the warmth of his touch, the sound of his laughter, the pain of waking up to an empty house and a note that ended a marriage. Now, after 27 years, he had returned. Not as a husband, not as a man of pride, but as a stranger in need. The next morning, Rosemary made a decision. She called Henry and Kenneth into her room. She explained everything to them. "I want to know where he's staying," she said. Her sons exchanged glances. "You sure?" Kenneth asked gently. She nodded. "I've spent my whole life wondering why he left. I deserve to hear it from him." Henry left immediately. By afternoon, he returned. He just moved to this area last week to work as a gatekeeper. He's staying near the market. "He lost everything," Henry said softly. Rosemary stood quietly for a long moment. Then she said, "Take me to him." Henry wanted to protest, but he didn't. Neither did Kenneth. Minutes later, they arrived at the tiny gatekeeper's room. Matthew was sitting on a worn-out chair, staring at the floor. He looked up when they entered. Shock flashed in his eyes. Rosemary stepped forward. No anger, no tears, just quiet strength. "I want to know," she said softly. "Why did you leave me?" Matthew looked at Rosemary. For the first time in 27 years, he had no place to hide. No lies, no excuses, just the truth. Raw, painful, and long overdue. He stood slowly, his body weak, his voice trembling. "I left," he began, "because I was ashamed." Rosemary didn't flinch. "I couldn't handle it," he continued. "The treatment's failing, the looks from people, the way you cried at night thinking I couldn't hear you. I felt like less of a man. Like I couldn't give you the life we dreamed of." His eyes filled with tears. "I told myself walking away was the only way to set you free, that maybe someone else could make you happy. Someone who could give you children." Rosemary listened quietly, her face unreadable. Then she spoke. "You didn't set me free," she said. "You broke me." Her voice wasn't angry. It was heavy with pain, with time, with everything they had lost. "I spent years wondering what I did wrong, wondering if I wasn't enough. But the truth is," she paused, looking him straight in the eyes, "you just gave up." Henry and Kenneth remained silent, watching their mother, the woman who raised 5 unwanted boys into men of purpose, confronting the ghost of her past. Matthew dropped his head. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," he whispered, "but I've carried this regret every single day. I watched you from afar sometimes, saw how you raised those boys, how you became more than a mother. You became a queen." Rosemary sighed deeply. "I forgave you a long time ago," she said softly. "Not because you deserved it, but because I needed to stop letting your choice define my life." She turned to her sons. "This man is not my husband anymore," she said, "but is still human, and right now he needs help." Henry and Kenneth nodded. Without hesitation, they offered Matthew a place to stay. Not out of obligation, but out of love. The same love that had built their lives. The same love that had fed hungry children. The same love that had turned a broken woman into a legend. In the weeks that followed, Rosemary helped Matthew rebuild his life gently, carefully. He started working again. Small jobs at first, then more meaningful ones. A year passed, and slowly, Like a forgotten melody finding its rhythm again, Matthew's life began to change. With the support of Rosemary and her sons, he found work, then purpose. Then, unexpectedly, opportunity knocked. This time he was ready. His small business grew steadily, not because of luck, but because of humility, hard work, and the second chance he never thought he'd get. One afternoon, he stood at the gate of Rosemary's home, not as the man who once walked away, but as one forever changed by the woman who chose mercy over bitterness. He stepped inside, walked up to her, and without hesitation knelt before her. "Thank you, Ma," he said, voice thick with emotion, "for transforming my life." Rosemary looked at him with soft eyes. No anger, no regret, only peace. She reached out gently and touched his shoulder. "I didn't do anything for you," she said softly. "But God did. All the glory and honor belongs to Him. Because it's not about what we will or what we run after. It's about the mercy that finds us when we least deserve it." Matthew lowered his head. For the first time in decades, he smiled. Not for himself, but because he finally understood the kind of love she had always known. A love that doesn't walk away. A love that feeds the hungry. A love that forgives. A love that builds kings. Love doesn't need permission or perfection. It only needs a willing heart. Rosemary wasn't given the life she dreamed of, but she chose to love anyway. 5 unwanted boys, a dying stranger, even the man who left her behind. Her story teaches us that real love isn't about timing or conditions. It's about showing up, opening your heart, and refusing to let pain be the end of your purpose. True strength is found in forgiveness, not for others, but for yourself. Rosemary forgave Matthew not because he deserved it, but because she deserved peace. Holding on to anger only kept her chained to the past. Her journey shows that forgiveness is not weakness. It is freedom. It's the moment you choose to stop letting someone else's choices define your happiness. Legacy is built not by blood, but by choice, sacrifice, and impact. Rosemary didn't give birth to kings. She raised them. She didn't just feed hungry children. She changed lives. Her legacy wasn't written in grand palaces or titles, but in meals served, tears wiped, and hearts healed. This story reminds us that the greatest mark we leave on the world isn't through wealth or fame, but through the love we give and the lives we lift. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button. Share it with someone who needs a little hope today. And subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. Thank you very much for watching.